My wife really likes her little $40 Insignia Instapot pressure cooker. It's about 2 years old, and then she's told me I plug it in and nothing happens. So none of the lights came on. So a quick look online said it's probably a fuse. So here we go. Let's check, see how you open this thing up, see what's wrong with it. So they did think about taking this apart. You can look at these little slides here, and that tells you that this bottom, all you have to do is slide it over a little bit and it will be released. And in order to take it apart, all we have to do is remove one screw. In this case, it's a hex. And then this thing should just slide. Off she goes, and there's the internals. As you can see, the circuit board itself looks good. I actually popped it right out of there. There's no screws on this one. It has a couple little plastic brackets, and I looked at the bottom and top, and there's no evidence of any burn marks on that or any other connector. So I'm making the assumption that it's not on the circuit board, but it's a thermal fuse, which a number of others on YouTube have mentioned, and there are even one or two other demonstration videos. For the $30 or $40 this machine cost, I wasn't going to fiddle with the circuit board. From looking around online, I saw that there's a thermal fuse, and it's actually located, you can see it because of a bracket and insulation. It's located along the side of the bottom of the pot. And not only are heavy wires going to it indicating something, but it's got the insulation, which happens to go around the fuse, and then it's bracketed in there right next to there. So it's set somewhere up around 250, 300 degrees. I'll tell you which fuse I bought and how that works out. When it's inside the pot, the bracket is held by one screw, which there's a screw hole for down there, and the insulated part of it is sort of folded up like that and pushed down in this space here, which is the space between the inner pot and the outer pot. So this one I already pulled apart. The wire comes out of both sides of it. It was a crimped connection, and the fuse was in between the two. By a quick jump of the two, I saw the lights come back on the pot, so I confirmed that this does need a fuse. Another simple test that you could do while the old fuse is in there would just be to use an ohm meter on both sides of it. There's plenty of bare wire, and then you could check to see if the circuit is connected. Because when that fuse blows, it disconnects the circuit, so there would be an open circuit there. So if your ohm meter says it's open, then that's your problem. If you're like me, you can also try jumping it with the wire, but be careful. That's the full 110 volts in there. Here's what the existing fuse looks like after I cut it out. I can see where it says 10 amp on there. I can't see the temperature, but I sort of guessed at that based on the Amazon listing. I'll show you in a minute. So you want the temperature to be higher than what the pressure cooker itself could go up to at the most, which means higher than about 250, 260 degrees. I picked the next one higher than that, and of course the listing mentioned Instapot. It didn't mention Insignia, but it mentioned it, Instapot, and a whole bunch of other brands. So I'm going to assume that we're close, and I will definitely notate below if this repair fails. The next order of business is going to be attaching the new fuse. The existing one is not soldered in, probably because it's possible that the temperatures could get to the point of melting solder. Highly unlikely. The fuse would blow first, but then maybe the solder would go after that. So it uses a crimped connector of some sort, and you could replace that with another small crimp, wire nut type or straight small crimp. But whatever you end up using, it will be way inside this insulation, so you could use even a bare crimped connector of some sort, then wrap it with a little electrical tape, and it will end up that it will be way inside this piece of insulation, so you'll be safe. Don't forget to slide the piece of white insulation back over the wire before you mechanically put the fuse back in place, so you can slide it back over there. I have some very small pieces of copper sheeting out in the shop, so I decided to make my own crimp connectors. I cut a little tiny piece of it, bend it over, and then I'm going to use that, and I'll put a couple wraps of electrical tape on top of that. So here I go, putting it back together. When you put it all back together, make sure the wires are back in their little holders or clips and that they're not touching any bare metal where one might arc to another. So just give it a quick check through and make sure everything looks good. I can't swear that the electrical tape that I used is going to withstand the temperatures in there, but that's something we'll find out after a while. Okay, here goes nothing. Let's plug it in. It makes noise and it comes right up. So my assumption here is that this thing is going to work. So anyway, that's how you replace a fuse. Because this thing is so cheap, you want to try to make use of things you have, because if you go out and start buying every crimp connector and all these things, you're going to end up spending $15 or $20 for this $40 pot. But in any case, you don't want to throw it away because recycling, reuse, and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully we'll get some more years out of this. Thanks for watching.